Welcome to Plant Life Project. I'm so glad that you could join me on today's video. So many people are enjoying the benefits of growing houseplants in their home, whether it's to purify the air they breathe or just provide a sense of connection to nature or a sense of enjoyment and calmness. Well, many people are also getting similar benefits from the hobby of fish keeping. Well, today I want to show you how we can combine growing houseplants and keeping fish in the same container in the same system, whether it's a bed of fish on your office desk or if you have a room full of fish tanks. So I want to show you how to build a beginner house-planted fish tank called a riparium. And we're going to use easy to grow and cheap houseplants readily available near you or perhaps already in your home. I want our focus to primarily be on this being an easy to build and inexpensive base model, if you will, for the beginner. And afterward I'm going to show you 3 ways that we can make simple upgrades to your riparium system if you want to develop this system further. I want you to be able to enjoy this riparium for years to come. So not only does it need to be cost effective and easy to build, but we also need to make sure that it is low maintenance as possible for the long term. So we're going to approach this by trying to mimic a natural ecosystem of a stream or a shallow pond so that this will be as self-sustaining as it can be. Here I'm using Krylon Fusion spray paint on 2 plastic shower caddies that we will be using as planters for the riparium. They will need to dry and cure for about 48 hours or longer if that makes you more comfortable before they will be safe to use. So make sure you plan ahead for this. At this point you can also paint the back of your riparium tank as well, but for this build I'm just using black foam board as the background because I already had that on hand. Well, after the riparium planters dry and cure, we're then going to place our tank on a sturdy surface in a room that you are planning to keep it. Now, preferably in a room with plenty of natural sunlight. Then we are going to dry mix the soil ingredients. You can do this in the tank, but I chose to mix it all up outside in a bucket with a dust mask on since I have allergies. The soil recipe that I'm using is 3 quarts seed starter mix, 2 quarts unscented non-clumping kitty litter, and a 1/4 cup of slow-release fertilizer. In this case I'm using Osmocote. You want to thoroughly mix the ingredients while they are still dry until there's an even consistency. Then slowly mix in enough water so that the mixture becomes muddy, but not so much that it becomes a slurry. Make sure you add enough soil to fill about 1 inch from the bottom of the tank, and press it down firmly, wiping off any particles from the sides with a damp paper towel. Now put a layer of dry all-purpose sand, at least 1.5 to 2 inches thick. And I'm using more sand to begin shaping the landscape. I'm sloping upward toward the back to add visual depth and for plant placement later on. Next I add pea gravel on top of the sand. Now, I'm not covering all of the sand because I want variety of texture in the substrate. I'm also continuing to raise the back slope with the gravel. I place a large smooth stone as a focal point, but this is optional. You could also use driftwood or decor of some kind. After that, I take a handful of medium-sized rocks to kind of vary up the size of the materials a little bit. Well, now it's finally time to add some plants. I start by washing the roots of all the plants I'm going to use thoroughly, and then I place a peace lily in first since it's the largest. I place it in the highest corner on top of the gravel where the leaves will be halfway out of the water, but the lower half of the plant will still be submerged. Many people may wonder if peace lily can actually grow like this deep in the water. Yes, it can. I grew it exactly this way in my first riparium, and it thrived. As long as the leaves are above the water surface, it will be fine. Wow, this is exactly how my first riparium looked with just a peace lily in it. You know, it makes a great kind of like modern minimalist design. But I'm going for the lush jungle look with this tank. Now we slowly begin filling the tank with dechlorinated water so that we don't disturb the substrate. Now if the water becomes too cloudy, you can always do water changes later. Well, now it's time to plant our shower caddies that we've spray painted. The plants that I'm using in this little project are Neanthobella palm, Photonia, and purple waffle plant. I began by dividing the parlor palms into smaller clumps so that I could spread them out kind of as a background in these planters, and then use some gravel to plant the palms in the caddies. After the gravel is about halfway, then I'm going to plant the foreground with the Photonia in one of the caddies, and then the purple waffle plant in the other caddy. Now as these plants begin to grow in the riparium, the roots will grow down through the gravel, through the water column, to the substrate, and that is the goal. This also provides a really cool background inside the tank and will give fish places to hide and spawn, if that is your goal. Well, in order to hang the riparium planters, I attach spring clips, or you could even use paper binder clips, to the back of the tank, and this is what the planters are going to hang from. I then attach zip ties to the back top side of the planters and slip the zip ties over the handles of the clips. Now if your zip ties are too short, just connect more of them together until the chain of them is long enough, and then pull the zip ties tight in order to take any excess slack out. If the planters are still leaning forward after you hang them, just take a piece of foam board insulation and place it between the planter and the back of the tank, and this will enable the planter to stand more upright. We're going to top off the water level, and I'm going to play around with a few pieces of driftwood that I already have. Wow, this is really coming together. I'm going to now let the water settle for a little while and try to decide if it's too cloudy and I need to change it. But I'm really happy with what we have so far. We have such a good contrast between plant and leaf sizes and textures and colors. I'm using a small air pump for water circulation, but you could also use a small water pump like this one as well. Water circulation is the main goal. A water filter is an option, but really once this tank is established, our plants and our deep substrate will be the filter. Basic lighting with a bright white LED bulb or a grow light bulb should be fine. If you get enough bright indirect sunlight, that may be all you need. So that's your base model riparium. Now let's talk about 3 simple upgrades that you can make. Driftwood, especially for plants to grow on, with plenty of options available, they give a natural yet artistic element to the riparium. Number 2, submerged plants like Anubias or Java moss or Marimo moss balls, and floating aquatic plants like duckweed and frogbed. Number 3 is moonlighting, which is my favorite. I used a clip-on LED aquarium light with a solid blue setting option. It can clip on above the riparium or on the edge of the tank. So how much is it going to cost you to build a base model riparium like I did today? Well, some of the materials that you use are going to be optional, like the number of plants you decide to use, or whether or not you decide to make one of the upgrades that we talked about. And you may already have some materials on hand, like an extra peace lily or some pothos or, I don't know, aquarium substrate, and so you may not have to buy those things. But the way that I built this riparium today with the materials that I specified through the build, I was able to do it for $50. Now the cost of the materials is going to vary depending on where and when you are, but I think it's very reasonable to expect a build like this to cost you somewhere around $50. Well, you may be thinking to yourself, hey dude, we haven't even put the fish in yet. Well, that's going to be covered in another part, another video. We're going to talk about a couple different options, some easy options for fish, but also I'm not planning to keep this riparium. I mean, I don't want it for myself personally. I've got enough to deal with right now. So I'm going to be giving this riparium to someone, someone very special and very close to me, and you may be able to guess who it could be. So we'll cover that in the next video. And so we'll talk about some types of fish to put in there, and I'll show you where this riparium is going. Well, congratulations. You have added something wonderful to your life, and it's going to help you just keep your home air clean, help you maintain a relaxing vibe, and help you stay connected to and keep enjoying learning about nature. Now, don't forget to check out some of my other videos that I have on how to grow houseplants in fish tanks. I'll be sure to put those in the links below. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment, and I would love to hear about your riparium build. Let me know how it's going. Do you have any questions? I'd love to hear from you. Well, until next time, remember, it's all about the plants.